Hey, y'all. Welcome to season 2 of the Reckless Optimist podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. This is a show about hope, strength, perseverance, and resilience. Let's get into it. Hey, everyone. Today on the podcast, we have Alex. I met Alex through the online running community. He has run 4 of the world major marathons, which is super cool. He is running for a purpose greater than himself. He is running to raise money for cancer. He tragically lost his wife to cancer in his early 30s. And tonight he's going to share his story about that, how he got through that, how he is now a marathon runner, how he has lost 80 pounds and completely transformed his pain into strength. I know you guys are going to love this story. Let's get into it. Hey, everyone. Help me welcome Alex to the podcast.
Hey, how are you? I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. We were just talking because me and you know each other through the running online community. We were just talking about that beautiful flag you have behind you for the viewers. It's the Boston Marathon flag.
Yes, Boston has a special place in my heart, and I'm excited. I put it up this past weekend and just excited to share a bit of my running journey today as well.
Yeah. How long have you been a runner?
About 6 years. I got into it much later in life and have logged now like 4,200 miles since I started. Yeah. So just constantly putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, right. What year did you run Boston?
24. So
Okay.
I did 3 of the majors in like an 11-month period. So New York in November, Boston, and then Chicago.
Do you plan to do the others?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the journey.
What was your favorite of the ones that you've done?
New York, it is my favorite race. The crowd is absolutely insane. And the weekend in Boston is phenomenal. In New York, it's just a thing that happens. So Boston, like the whole city is there and supportive, and coming into Boston is just an awesome feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're going to get into your story, but before we do, we are going to start our episode out with a quote like we do each time. And the quote is by Viktor Frankl. He is an Austrian neurologist, a Holocaust survivor, and he's author of the book Man's Search for Meaning. Have you ever heard of that book?
I have not.
Yeah, add it to your list if you like to read a phenomenal book about perseverance and resilience. I learned a lot from that book.
That's
so
awesome.
the quote goes, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." What does that quote mean to you?
I think it really embodies a lot of my story, that you are faced in life with so many challenges and things to overcome. And I think having the opportunity and self-awareness to be like, hey, maybe I need to reflect and make some improvements in myself to help resolve this is a huge personal. It speaks to me a lot. It's part of my story. And so I love that quote. I hadn't heard it before.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful. It kind of embodied what his whole book was about. I love how even when we're stripped of everything, we still have the freedom to choose our attitude. I think you can find so much meaning in life through that. In the book, he talks about like the 3 main ways to find meaning in life is purposeful work and contribution. The second is love or deep connection. And then the third is courage and suffering. And I love this one because he talks about like turning pain into strength. And that really sounded a lot like your story.
Yeah, it does. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Good job on the quote.
Yeah, I know. I always try to find a quote that fits the guest, and I felt really good about this one.
Yeah, it's fire. Good job.
Yeah. Well, this is a great segue to you and your story. So wherever you feel comfortable, just take us back.
Yeah, sure. So I think I'll start with, as you know, an adult, I've really struggled with my weight for most of my adult life. That will come in and be relevant here in a little bit in the story, but I think it's a good precursor. So I met my wife, Amanda, in college. We got engaged, got married, went through a pretty heavy infertility process, about 3 years of trying to have our son. No luck, over and over and over again. And we thought that was going to be like our thing. That is the thing as a couple we are going to have to deal with. And eventually our son came, things were great. And just before he turned 3, she went on a weekend girls outing. She reconnected with some of her high school friends and thought, great, have some fun, go have some laughs, etc. Well, she comes back from that trip and is just in an excruciating pain. And it was one of those looks that she gave me that's like, oh, something serious here. So we drop our son off. We go to the ER. This is 9 o'clock at night or so. The ER doctor is like, well, maybe you have a blockage. Maybe there's something going on. You know what? We'll just do an x-ray just in case. We were sitting there, does the x-ray, comes back, something's abnormal on the x-ray. And so he wants to go do a CT scan. We're sitting, waiting, get the CT scan results. And he comes in and tells us, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have cancer and it is really bad. And you have to see an oncologist the next 48 hours. And so that was just a absolutely terrifying experience. I'm 32 at this point. She's 34. And we're young parents. Cancer is not something we feel like we should have to deal with. So she had colorectal cancer, kind of at the exit point. It was stage 4B, which is the worst of the worst. She had about a 15% survival rate after 5 years, which was a terrifying thing to know, right? I didn't know when it would kill her, but I knew the day she was diagnosed that this would be the thing. And so again, we thought infertility was our big struggle, and it wasn't. It was cancer. So over the course of the next 16 months, she went through 25 rounds of chemo, 50 rounds of radiation. She did multiple surgeries, multiple treatment centers, the whole thing, and ultimately passed in February of 2019. And as you can imagine, I then had to tell our son, your mom died. And that, to a 4-year-old boy, the cry was like a broken bone cry, and it just, still to this day, almost 7 years later, it just crushes me. And so as I was going through that, I realized my son should not lose another parent because I couldn't take care of myself. So much of my professional life and as a caregiver and a dad at that point is I was focused on literally everybody but me. And going back to the weight comment, my weight when she was pregnant, we'd go get a milkshake at 2 o'clock in the morning because she had the craving. And of course, dad's got to get one too, right? I woke up and looked in the mirror and said, what is happening? You are making an active choice every day that your son might lose you to. And so I started on a health journey and lost a significant amount of weight. I was listening to the episode that you had with another marathoner who actually lost a bunch of weight, and really glad to hear that this morning when I was driving into the office. But that completely changed me. I started out on a walking challenge. I did 500 miles in 102 days and eventually started wondering, could I run? Is that something I could physically do? And I tried it and was like, hey, I can do this. This is okay. And then, okay, I'm going to run a 5K. Okay, I'm going to run a 10K. And I always like to try to do something special on the anniversary of Amanda's passing. And so on the first anniversary, I went to New York. We loved going to New York and seeing Broadway shows. And so I went. And I went to a restaurant we never got to go to, but I'd always wanted to, went and saw a play. And then on the second year, about a week before, I realized I had run 10 miles that day and still felt good. And I thought a huge journey change for me over 2 years to start running and run a half marathon on her anniversary, on the anniversary of her passing. And so I did it in 2.5 hours and whatever minutes. It was in my neighborhood. I live in Indiana. It's icy. It's cold. It was a horrendously stupid idea for me to do it. But it was so much for me about moving forward. I often talk with my friends that I've never moved on from Amanda. I've moved forward. And just taking that next step, the next right thing to move forward. So fast forward a little bit, I ran a half marathon. I said, what if I could I run a marathon? And so I did, and I finished, and I met my now fiance and my son at the finish line. And she's like, oh, great. Now you know what it was like for next time. And I said, next time? Next time? You're nuts. I'm never doing that again. And she likes to tell the story that 6 days later, I started looking up more races, more marathons, and I decided to chase the 6 world majors. but I realized just running to run wasn't enough, and I needed to fight back against cancer. And so I started fundraising as a charity runner. I've now run 4 of the 6 original majors. I'm doing London in April, and have raised more than $43,000 to fight cancer. So that's a lot of background, a lot of story, but this movement that I've now started called Catch Up to Cancer is starting to really build this momentum that we can catch up to this terrible disease, have the power in, we have the smartest humanity has ever been is now. We have all of these AI tools who could help us grow and mine data faster and like present us with new ideas potentially. Like we could beat this thing, and I want to be part of that.
Wow. I mean, a beautiful, powerful, sad story.
Yeah.
That part about, telling your son, I can't, it's going to make me cry talking about it now, but I can't imagine what that took to
Yeah.
have that conversation with your baby. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something about, I have 3 kids and a son, and the love between a mom and her son is very special and
Yeah.
very unique. Yeah, that part was really, really hard to hear, but, sounds like you are continuing on in her legacy, and I think one of the most beautiful things we can do about people that we lost is to keep talking about them,
Yeah. Yep.
and keep their legacy alive. I have some follow-up questions for
Yeah.
you. How did, everything that you went through, losing your wife, I mean, you were so young, you guys were
Yeah.
babies. How did that change the way that you saw the world?
I mean, in 1,000 ways. And again, 7 years later, it still changes. Yeah. There's a pile of laundry on the ground. Sure. Whatever. Okay. Somebody's being mean at work. Okay. Whatever. Like, this is not a big deal, right? I feel like I went through, and anybody who loses somebody close, right? They go through something so heavy, and all of the like stupid day-to-day problems just become meaningless. I don't mean to be flippant about that, because they are important. Those are things that do affect us in a day-to-day, but at least for me, my perspective is like I'm happy to have the hard conversation. I've had the hardest conversation I will ever have in my life 7 years ago. You're faced with so much in all of our lives, and moving forward is the way I think to approach so many of life's problems. Like, cool, that pile of laundry, take a step. It might take you 2 hours, right, to do it all, but take one step today and take another step. And you know what? There's another load now. And so we're going to add to that, and you're taking a step back, but just the little steps forward. Somebody reminded me of a quote recently: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's the same kind of concept of just like chipping away at life's problems, and it's okay. You can get there. I don't think people make changes in their lives instantly. They go through ups and downs through there. It's similar in running, right? Running is not a straight line journey. It's a bunch of up and downs through that as well. So yeah, I think that perspective, just taking little steps, and that it really isn't a big deal, whatever the thing is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and none of us get out of life alive, right?
Right.
But
Right.
but there is something to be said about watching someone that you love so much
Yeah.
pass away before your eyes at a young age. It
Yep.
changes you. There's
It
the you
does.
before that happens, and then there's the you after that happens, and they're
Yep.
different people. And
Yep.
and it's hard to relate to other people when you've gone through something like that, when they're talking about their problems.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, did anything surprise you about grief, the grief that you went through?
I think it's interesting. I had a friend of mine whose wife passed away unexpectedly. Like, he put her in an ambulance and he never talked to her again. And how his grief journey was very different than me watching the decline over 16 months, right? Like, you're grieving. Like, the night she was diagnosed, I knew this was going to kill her. And so that grieving process started that day for me. And, I think the grieving process is also interesting because you never know what the trigger is going to be. I read a post today that talked about somebody's wife was dying, and the hospice doctor took a bunch of videos for their kid of just like all of, oh, you lost your first tooth, going to kindergarten, like they recorded like 500 videos or something insane. And that just like crushed me in the best and worst way, you know? Somebody shared with me during my grief that grief is like a box, a ball, and a button. Do you know this analogy?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those listeners who don't, is when a traumatic event happens, this ball is fills the box and is just pressing on the button at all times. And as grief, as time passes, the ball gets smaller. And in that smaller ball, it starts bouncing around the box and it, on random days, it just kind of hits that button, or random moments it hits that button. And so in our house, we like to call them button days. And just like, we don't need to go into it. I don't need to cry on the couch, cry in the shower. I'm sharing today is a button day for me. And that's it. Now, treat me with kind gloves or whatever, that I'm feeling something today. And so I think that is the long tail of it. And you never know what's going to be. A song plays on the radio, a familiar, the lotion she would wear or something, whatever that is, just it hits differently.
If someone's listening to this episode and they're going through something really hard or a loss, a grief, what advice would you give them in that first year that they're kind of handling everything?
Yeah. The first year for me was so hard. There were first Christmas, first Thanksgiving, first, spending time with her family at holiday events, etc. And the way the calendar falls is it was like bam, 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 bam. It was Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, our anniversary, the day she died, Valentine's Day, her birthday. Like it was just compacted, very close. And I think the advice I would share is definitely respect and honor their legacy, but also it is okay to tear apart those traditions and just do something that's meaningful to you all. Like, as I'll use this as a kind of a silly example, but Amanda loved for Christmas to have ham, and she loved at Thanksgiving to have turkey. And nobody else in the whole family enjoys either of those things, but that was the requirement. And so I still get together with her family now 7 years later on Christmas, on Thanksgiving, but I don't make turkey. I don't make ham. I make something special and unique that has become our tradition, that it's okay. I struggled learning what it was like to be by myself again. Like, as couples, we watch the same shows together in the evenings, or we like the same movies. And I think we forget, what is Alex like, right? And that was a huge eye opener to me. Well, I don't have to listen to whatever music she wants or watch the show that I never was really interested in, but we did it together as a couple. I think you have to be okay with not being okay, and with throwing things just completely out the window a little bit, and just realizing, like, we survived and we have to find a way to find happiness for ourselves again.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really, really good advice. I wanted to talk to you about your running journey.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. How much weight have you lost?
I lost 80 pounds during
Oh,
that bout. Yeah. It was pretty insane looking at the picture, like the last picture I took before she passed. And, you know, that journey over the last 7 years has been wild.
it's incredible. I'm a nurse practitioner. I work with people who are struggling with weight. And I always say, imagine putting on an 80-pound weight vest and walking
Yeah.
around all day. And what would that feel like? That was the weight that you were carrying physically, mentally.
Mhm.
How tired would you be?
Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it. I wanted to ask you about your running because I'm
Yeah.
very curious. What was your first run like? Like, what was that experience running? What were you thinking? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Kind of give us that take.
Yeah. The first mile walking was a big deal and a big challenge. When I'd already completed 500 at this point, and being able to go physically run, it was a hard mindset shift, because for so many years of my life, like, that was never something I could even ever think about, dream about doing. So I did most of my miles at a local park. We've got a nice big city park, and I was hiking. And so I started as a trail runner, and it was the greatest joy I feel like I had was running that first mile and being like, wow, I can actually do this. And, maybe it wasn't, maybe I walked a little bit. I don't really remember specifically, but I do know that like it blew my mind of just how I physically was able to go run. Like, what?
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
insane.
It's so interesting, I think, for people to hear that. I mean, walking your first mile was hard, and now you're running marathons. Like,
Right.
the arc there is so spectacular to me, you know?
Yeah. Thank you.
That's incredible. I wanted to ask how you got into raising money because I think it's really cool to run, but it's even cooler to run for a purpose. So,
Yeah.
how did that come to be?
Yeah. So in part of my professional career, I worked at a nonprofit's headquarters, and we actually worked with an organization called St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You probably know them. They're a fantastic children's hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. And so during my professional life, I got to visit the hospital and see the impact that was they can make on families, and so that spoke to me a lot. And as I started looking at the majors, I realized like I am definitely not fast enough to run Boston. I'm definitely not like the lottery options for London or whatever. Like these are insane. And through some reflecting and really realizing, like, I feel like I have a powerful story. I have a narrative, motive, desire to make an impact on the world. And cancer ripped my life in half. I was going to be with this woman for literally the rest of my life. We were going to retire, we were going to travel, we were going to do all of these things that just got ripped out from me. And I realized like I need to fight back against this thing. And so part of the reason why St. Jude is so important to me is after the first 2 weeks of treatment for Amanda, we got a $400,000 bill. I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, how do I even process? How do I make a payment on a $400,000 bill that's not laughable, right? And St. Jude uh, makes it so that no family ever receives a bill for treatment, housing, travel, food, nothing. And to be able to lift that burden for families so they can focus on just the one thing that matters is helping their kid beat cancer. I'm in all day, every day.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine trying to go through treatment and then have a financial burden like that as well,
Yeah.
like to be able to lift that from people. That's amazing. The training, I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
give us kind of your training plan. How did you go from just starting to run to training for a marathon?
Yeah. So the first, obviously walking, starting just kind of randomly running, doing some 5Ks. I started doing them as fast as I could every single time. That was, because that's what you do as a runner, right? And I ended up injuring myself during my training for my first marathon. I was using the Peloton 20-week training program. They do some strength, they do some specific runs, long runs, etc. And I just like heard a pop the first time I was getting to, I think I was doing a half marathon. I was at mile 10 and I heard a pop and I was like, oh, this is not good. I had my now fiance come pick me up and I like stopped running. And so before my first marathon, I had never run more than a half. And so that was a horrendous cycle. I do not recommend that. Like I didn't understand fueling. I didn't understand any of that process. So for New York, I actually hired a run coach who is now kind of set me up, and she's helped me for 4 marathons, and we're in the middle of the fifth for London. And so it's like 4 runs a week actually, and a strength workout is basically what we do. A Saturday long run, a shorter Monday, a little longer Tuesday, strength on Wednesday. It's like a 16-week. You progress for 4 weeks, take a down week, progress for 4 weeks, kind of up a mile every week on your long run, and by 16 weeks, you've done your peak week is about 3 weeks before, and you do 20 is your cap, and then you kind of taper down, and you're done.
Is that your favorite distance to run, the marathon, or
No.
what's your favorite of all the races?
Yeah, I don't generally feel like I do well on actual race day. Half is a really good distance for me. I feel like I could go run a half marathon like right now at any
Mhm.
point. 5Ks are a very comfortable standard everyday run for me. Oh, I want to go out for a run, 5K, done. But half is like my sweet race spot, but 5K is like a regular everyday run.
So for London, which is in
Mhm.
April, is that right?
Yes, April 20th.
April 26th. Will that be your 5th marathon?
It will be my 6th marathon, my 5th major.
Okay.
Tokyo will be the last major I've got left.
And when is Tokyo?
Tokyo is a late February, early March race. And so I'm hoping to get in for 27.
Heard good things about that race because it's
Yeah.
flat.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like a good PR course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Berlin is also very, very flat as well. And a lot of people, I think, PR there as well.
And you've done that one.
Yes, I did that one this past September.
So you have London, Tokyo, and Sydney left. Is that right?
I'm just going to do the OG6, and
Okay.
I don't need to chase the 7th, and then maybe the 8th, and then maybe the 9th, like, because Cape Town is supposed to be the 8th, and maybe Shanghai is supposed to be the 9th in a year or two. And after 6, I feel like I'm ready to put my Brooks up on the shelf and, do a little less insane running.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, how do you feel like running has helped you through the grief and through everything that you've gone through?
Yeah. I think running helps me show up best for everybody else in my life by taking that half an hour, taking that hour run in a morning. I feel more creative. I feel more present. I feel more available for my family. And that has helped me so much. You spend a lot of time in marathon training, a lot of time on the road. I run by myself and typically super early in the morning before the family wakes up. And so it's a lot of time in your head, and having that time to reflect and think and analyze. And, I feel like I come back a better Alex every time. And
Yeah.
I look back because 2026 Alex is just light years ahead of where 2019 Alex was. And every day I'm reminding myself, like, 2019 Alex would never have done this, have never invested in himself, would never put that time. And so it's helped me be a lot better for everybody who's important to me.
Yeah. Sometimes our darkest moments can be like a springboard to our better selves. And
Yeah.
you're definitely an example of that. Does your son run? Does he like to run with you?
He's starting to a little bit. We did a New Year's Day run. We did a Thanksgiving Day run, like a turkey trot.
Turkey trot, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's starting to. It's not like he loves it yet, but I think he appreciates some time with Dad. We've started hiking again, the two of us just by ourselves, and so that's been kind of fun too, to have that one-on-one time.
Yeah. All 3 of my kids, I really prayed that one of them would be a runner. Or
Yeah.
at least like running. Like, you don't have to be good, just like it. All 3 of them hate it with
Oh,
a
no.
passion. I know. And I forced all of them to race, as a great
Yeah.
mother. And my baby, she's probably my biggest hope, my girl twin. She's done a few 5Ks. She cried in the first one a good bit. But she enjoy. I see the spark in her eye when she runs sometimes, but yeah, for the most part, I don't know that the legacy will continue on with running. It might end with me, but it's okay. They'll do their own thing. We have to let our kids do their own thing. Is what
We
I have
do.
to remind. Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. I wanted to ask you a few more questions before
Sure.
our lightning round.
Sounds good.
If someone was just starting to get into running, like a brand new runner, a beginning runner, what advice would you give them to make sure that they're set up to be healthy and not have injuries?
Yeah. You definitely need to do the stretching. That is through my training. I've been to PT 4 times, I think, because I do not do the stretching like I should. I acknowledge and openly admit that I am not very good at that part of the process. So taking those extra 2 minutes, 5 minutes to just stretch afterward would be huge. Get yourself a good pair of running shoes. A lot of running stores actually can fit you specifically. Some of them have machines. Some of them, they watch you on a treadmill, but they can put you in a shoe that actually helps with how your foot looks and your arch. That makes a world of difference. For my first 2 marathons, I was in a walking shoe because I didn't realize it wasn't a running shoe, and I ended up with plantar fasciitis and just like a lot of problems because I didn't know what I was doing. Making sure you're investing in a good shoe. I'd recommend doing 2 pairs of those same shoes and rotating them out so they last longer, especially if you're doing, marathon distance or something. Like one training cycle is like a pair of shoes. And so if
Mhm.
you are switching them for every run, then you can get a lot longer longevity out of them. And I think ultimately, like, be kind to yourself. A mile is a mile, whether it took you 25 minutes, 5 minutes, or 67 minutes. Like, a mile is still a mile. Don't beat yourself up about that. Taking those steps, you are miles ahead of the you that was sitting on the couch. So
Mhm.
just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and to not get caught up, the online running community is absolutely amazing. I mean, like we are
Yes.
all out here hyping each other up. However, you have to be very careful to not fall into the trap of, oh, well, they're faster than me. I need to be faster. I need to be faster. Like that's not the joy of running. The joy
No.
of running is the freedom that it brings. And I need to remind myself of this advice as well.
Yeah, and even in our conversation, right, as a charity runner, as kind of a back of the pack runner, like I I feel like I even front load of like, oh yeah, well I didn't qualify for Boston because I'm not fast enough. But I did something that is I still did the 500 miles of training, but I
Mhm.
also raised $21,000 for that race specifically. And so don't discount the amount of time you're putting in, the amount of effort. Like you are investing in you, and that is worthwhile every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that advice. Well, we have made it to the lightning round of
Yeah.
our show. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. I know it's not easy to do that. It's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not easy to share those parts of your life, but you did it with such grace and
Well, thank you.
courage. So
Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing your story. You will help so many people. I mean, not everyone is going to have gone through the same thing that you went through,
Sure.
but seeing how you got through something really hard, people connect with that. They connect with that hope.
Well, good. I mean,
Thank you.
I hope to inspire a little bit, and forward is a pace, right? Just
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yeah. So these are fun questions or just get
Yeah.
to know you questions. They're brand new questions from season one. Season
Okay.
one had different ones. These are different questions. And they're just because people get invested in you after they hear your story. So they
Yeah.
get to know a little bit more about you.
Cool.
So the first question is, do you have any hidden talents?
It's not hidden, but I'm a pretty all right cook. I appreciate like fine dining and being able to like kind of recreate that at home. So it's not hidden. My friends and family definitely know that I enjoy doing it, but yeah, for the audience here.
That's cool. That's a
Yeah.
talent I do not have, but
Okay.
I admire it in other people.
Thank you.
Number two, what song puts you in a good mood?
So I'm a college kid from the early 2000s. Punk rock was a big thing for me. I really enjoy my Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. So Panic's High Hopes is always a really good, like uplifting motivational song for me.
Love that song. It's on all
Yeah.
my running playlists. Like
Is
it
it?
just fires me up.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
big
it.
fan of that one. Number three, what is the last concert that you've been to?
Ooh, so this one's easy. My late wife was a huge fan of the band 311. She saw
Yeah.
them 62 times. And so I took our son to go see them with spring break and yeah, so we went.
That's awesome. Punk rock band.
Yeah.
All right. Number four, what would be your last meal?
I would go to the French Laundry in California. Thomas Keller is like the most recognized American chef, and he's the chef at French Laundry. And I would just say, cook me whatever you want, chef. And whatever
Ooh,
Thomas Keller, if I could eat Thomas Keller's meal before I die, I'm in.
that's such a good answer. I don't know who he is, but now I want that.
Yeah, it's so good. He is fantastic.
It's so funny because I am literally the worst cook. Like, if they had the like worst cook show, I would
Yep.
win that on TV, reality TV. But I'm obsessed with watching people cook. Like, I
Okay.
love watching cooking shows like
Yeah.
Top Chef, all of that. Even though I have no desire to do that.
Yeah. I took during the pandemic Thomas Keller's master class. And now, like, I have all of his cookbooks and like I'm in. It's just fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to buy some for my
Yes.
husband to cook for me.
Yeah, good call.
Last question, kind of a heavy question. Last year, season 1, our question was, what does freedom mean to you? But
Mhm.
season 2, the question is, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Ooh, I hope that my desire to make the world a better place inspires more people to try to make the world a better place and realize we have the power every day to tear people down or lift people up. We have the power to invest in their success. We have the power to utilize our resources, our time, our talent, our treasure, and help make the world a better place. And I hope that through some of these podcasts and through the mission that I'm chasing right now is that people can feel a little more empowered to just you raise $5, you donate $5, you are changing something for somebody. And you don't have to raise $43,000 to do that. Like you can do that in little meaningful ways every day. And I hope that my legacy is showing that love to others and that we have the power to do that.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And you're doing it. You are absolutely doing that.
Oh,
And
thank you.
it's really impressive to watch. I think we all need to have something more powerful than us that drives us. And it's incredibly inspiring to see what you're doing. So thank you so
Thank you.
much for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so excited to see how you do in London and hear your experience. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have met you.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.